Hello everyone, the Lipox Academy welcomes you to this introductory video on the quantitative reasoning section of the GRE. In this video, we will have an overview of the content, format and the question types that you are going to see in your GRE. There will be two sections on the maths for your GRE. There will be 20 questions per section which you are expected to complete in 35 minutes. Your performance will be graded on a scale of 130 to 170, 130 being the lowest and 170 being the highest. As you are expected to complete 20 questions in 35 minutes, time management is going to be one of the crucial factors both during your preparation as well as the actual exam. There is no negative marking on the test, so make sure you attempt all the questions on the GRE. For the maths section, you have an added feature of an on-screen calculator. This is exactly how your on-screen calculator will look in the exam. It is a simple basic calculator which supports your 4 arithmetic functions, a square root function and the memory functions. There is an additional button on the bottom of the calculator, transfer display. The main purpose of this button is for numeric entry questions as it allows you to transfer whatever is there in the calculator display to the numeric entry text box. Now let us look at the course content for your GRE. The GRE will majorly test you on 4 areas: arithmetic, algebra, geometry and data analysis. In arithmetic, you will be seeing types of integers and their properties, divisibility and factorization, exponents and roots, percents, ratios and sequences. In algebra, simplifying algebraic expressions, relations and functions, equations and inequalities, coordinate geometry, slopes and intercepts of lines. In geometry, lines, triangles, quadrilaterals, circles, 3-dimensional figures and the formulae related to area, perimeter and volume for all these figures. Data analysis. This will include descriptive statistics, permutations and combinations, elementary probability and data interpretation. So basically, if you see, it's all whatever you have been studying since your school days. And the good thing is there is no trigonometry, no calculus. Now let us see how you are going to be tested in the GRE, or let's understand the question types that you are going to see in the GRE. There are 4 question types in the GRE. Multiple choice questions, you have 2 types of them. One is select one answer choice and you will see approximately 8 questions of this. The second MCQs is one or more answer choices are correct and you see 2 questions of this type. The next one is numeric entry, 2 questions of this type, and the last one is quantitative comparison where you see 8 questions of this type. With the help of some examples, we will get a deeper insight into these different question types. The first one, multiple choice, select one answer choice. Over here the question will be given to you and there will be 5 options which will appear in this format. They are always going to have radio buttons, so only one of the options is going to be correct. Also now, immediately let us see the solution for this question. 27 printing machines can print 15,000 papers in a day. How many papers will 9 printing machines print in 6 days? It's given to us that 27 printing machines are printing 15,000 papers in a single day. Now the question is asking us the printing done by 9 printing machines. So the number of printing machines have been reduced to 1/3. So the papers printed will also reduce to 1/3, which means 9 printing machines will print 5,000 papers in a day. Now the question is asking us in 6 days, what is the output? So 9 printing machines will print 5,000 into 6, that is 30,000 papers in 6 days. So we are going to select the third option, which is 30,000. Now let's move on to the next question type. Multiple choice, select one or more answer choices. In this question type, there is no restriction on the number of options. You can have as many as 2 to 8 options in this question. You will always see check boxes for these questions, so one or more options are always going to be correct over here. The most important thing that you should remember for this question type is there is no partial marking. So you are not going to get any credit unless and until you provide the correct set of answers. So now let us see what is the correct set of answers for this question. The ratio of girls and boys in a class is 7:4. Which of the following could be the total number of students in the class? As the ratio given is 7:4, the total strength of the class has to be a multiple of 11. So now let us check out our options and see which of them are multiples of 11. So 33, 55, 110 and 132 would be the correct answers. Proceeding to the next question type, numeric entry. In this question type, you will have the question and no options in front of the question. You will have to type your answer in a text box as an integer or as a decimal. You can use the backspace key of the computer to erase your answer. If your answer is expected in a fraction format, it will appear something like this. For the fraction format, whether I enter my answer as half, 5/10 or 300/600, all of them are going to be given full credit. Now let us see the correct answer for this question. If x is an integer, then for how many values of x will 24/x be an integer? For 24/x to be an integer, x should be a factor of 24. So we start by writing factors of 24. The factors for 24 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12 and 24. So the total number of factors are 8. But because x has to be an integer, it could be positive as well as negative. So we will have 8 positive values of x and 8 negative values of x. So 24/x will be an integer for 16 values of x. So we are going to enter 16 in the numeric entry box. Now let's move on to the last question type, quantitative comparison. This is a question type where there are two quantities to be compared based on some information which is generally centrally located. Based on the results of your comparison, you have these options which are standard options. Quantity A is greater, quantity B is greater, the two quantities are equal, the relationship cannot be determined from the given information. Exactly how these options work, let's try to see with some examples. The given information in this question is x is greater than 0 but less than 1. And the question is asking us to compare x and x square. So, as x lies between 0 and 1, we can start by assuming some value between 0 and 1. So we assume x is equal to 0.5, which means x square will be 0.25. So now what do we see? We see that quantity A is greater than quantity B. So we are going to select the first option for this question. Now let us see what's happening in the second question. X is greater than 1 but less than 2. And the quantities to be compared are still the same, x and x square. But notice carefully, the given information has now changed. So now x is any value between 1 and 2. We assume x is equal to 1.5. So x square will be 2.25. So now what's going to be the result of the comparison in this case? Quantity B will be greater than quantity A. So we are going to select the second option in this case. Now the third question. Again, the quantities to be compared are the same in this question, but the given piece of information is something different. X is an integer and x is greater than 0 but less than 2, which means that x is an integer between 0 and 2. Now because x is an integer, between 0 and 2 we have only one integer. So x has to be 1 in this case, which means my both quantities, that is quantity A and quantity B, are going to be equal in this case. So we are going to select the third option as the answer for this question. And now let us see how the last option works. Again, the quantities to be compared are x and x square, and the given information is now x is greater than 0 but less than 2, which means that x can take any value between 0 and 2. Based on our previous discussion, we have definitely understood that if x is between 0 and 1, quantity A will be greater than quantity B. If x is between 1 and 2, quantity B will be greater than quantity A. And if x is equal to 1, quantity A will be equal to quantity B. So basically, we are not able to arrive at any conclusion as to which quantity is greater or smaller or equal, which means the relationship cannot be determined from the given information. So hope you've understood all the different question types that you're going to see in your GRE examination. Now let's just try to sum up everything whatever we have seen about the quant section. So we have understood that the GRE is going to test us on the basic elementary concepts that we have studied in our high school. More importantly, we need to understand that the GRE is testing our logical and analytical ability to apply these concepts. So when we are studying, our focus should be on comprehending the questions correctly, time management and accuracy. If all these three things go hand in hand, you can definitely get a good score on the GRE quant section. If you want to get a feel of the actual GRE, do try to give the free diagnostic test which is available on the website. You can also check out our blogs for many useful information on the GRE. If you like this video, you can watch more such videos on YouTube. And if you are interested in GRE prep, you can register for our free demo classes and we're sure you will like them. All the best for your preparation. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you soon in class.